My friends, we need to learn there are certain believers. Allah in general loves all the believers. Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Inna Allah idha ahabba abdan a'tahu al-iman." When Allah loves a particular individual, He gives him this gift of iman. He doesn't give this gift of iman to anyone. Having said this, there are certain believers from amongst the believers. They, my friends, are so dear to the Almighty Allah that they receive the divine love. Not only do they receive the divine love, they receive this thing called qabuliyat, this thing called acceptance. And they are the people throughout history, and you don't need to take my word for it. Throughout history, those people that received the divine love of Allah, and they received with this divine love the acceptance, they are the ones that made a difference. They are the ones that were elevated by Allah, and they are the ones whom we still remember to this very day. Sayyidina Abu Hanifa radiallahu ta'ala relates a hadith. He said that our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Inna Allah idha habba abdan da'a Jibra'il." When Allah loves a person, He calls Jibra'il, and He says to Jibra'il, "Oh Jibra'il, I love this person, I want you to love him also." Sayyidina Jibra'il begins to love this particular individual, and then Sayyidina Jibra'il, he calls in the heavens, and a call is made that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves so and so, you also love him. And then all the inhabitants of the heaven begin to love this individual. And then Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Summa yuda lahu fil qabul." Then acceptance is placed for this person on the land, and all the people embrace him. All the people begin to love this particular individual that is being loved by Allah, by Jibra'il, and all those within the heavens. Whoever Allah gave His special love, His divine love, and His qabuliyat, my friends, throughout history, these are the individuals, irrespective of where they've come from, whether they were black, white or blue, irrespective which caste they belong to, they are the ones that made the difference, and they are the ones that are remembered and followed to this very day. Look at Sayyidina Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Look at where Umar was radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and where the divine love and acceptance took him. Sayyidina Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala anhu had made firm intentions to kill our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So firm was this intention that he had a sword in his hand, and he was now making his way to our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that today there will be no man called Muhammad, there will be no book called Quran, and there will be no religion called Islam. And when the divine love came and the qabuliyat, the very man that wanted to put an end to Islam, Allah, through him, that one individual that wanted to put an end to Islam, Allah made him a means of guidance for millions and millions of people around the globe. And so much was achieved in his era, which has never been achieved in any era thereafter to this very day. Look at the young Bukhari. My friends, for those of you that do not know, Imam Bukhari as a child was blind. He could not even see. Now, what hope was there for a blind child 1200 years ago? What hope was there for a blind child 1200 years ago? My friends, the reality is there was no hope. And as a result, his mother would cry by day and by night. And she would ask the Lord of the Arsh and Kursi to restore the eyesight of her son. And when the divine love came and qabuliyat came, the very child for whom there was no hope 1200 years ago, he is the one, when the divine love came, that became Amir al-Mu'mineen fil Hadith. He became the commander of the faithful with regards to the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in spite of the fact that there were many great scholars in his time, before him, after him, and there were many scholars that had written a book containing authentic hadith, and only authentic hadith, the Sahih of Ibn Khuzaymah, the Sahih of Ibn Sakan, the Mustadrak of Imam Hakim, the Muntaqa of Ibn al-Jarud. My friend, his book, the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari, was the one that Allah chose and gave qabuliyat, gave acceptance, as a result of which the Siwadul A'zam, the greater part of the Ummah, has always, for the last 1200 years, in their millions, in every era to this very day, in their millions, have been benefiting from the book of Imam al-Bukhari. What was Bishr ibn Hafi rahmatullah alayh? He could barely keep his legs straight due to intoxication. And when the love of Allah came, and the divine love came, and the acceptance came, such was the condition of Bishr Hafi rahmatullah alayh, that his name amongst the masses was like the name of a prophet. Okay, just like the name of a prophet is on the tongue of every woman, every man and every child, the name of Bishr Hafi rahmatullah alayh in his era was on the tongue of every woman, every man and every child. On one occasion he was asked with regards to this, and Bishr Hafi rahmatullah alayhi said, "Hada min fadlillah," this is from amongst the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he explained that on one occasion he was walking and he saw a piece of paper, and on this piece of paper was in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it was covered with dirt. He says he picked this paper up, this piece of paper, and he cleaned it to the best of his ability, and he placed it inside his pocket. He says, at that time I only possessed 2 dirhams. These were my worldly possessions. And I went there and then to a perfume seller, and with all of what I had, these 2 dirhams, I purchased the best itr I could possibly do with these 2 dirhams. And I perfumed this piece of paper that had the name of Allah written on it. I went home and I placed it on a high place out of the respect for the name of Allah. He says, that night I went to sleep. I saw the Almighty Allah in my dream, and He was saying to me, "O Bishr, just as you took care of my name, I will elevate your name in the dunya as well as the akhirah." Look at Fudail ibn Ayaz. Fudail ibn Ayaz was a notorious bandit. People were afraid of him. He had a reputation. And when the divine love came and acceptance came, the same Fudail ibn Ayaz that people would dread, he received the title Abidul Haramain. Abidul Haramain, the worshipper of the harams, the 2 harams. One of those that received a great portion of this divine love. And he received a great portion of this thing called qabuliyat. This thing called acceptance was none other than our Imam, the Imam of the believers, Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi. From the Khairul Qurun, the best of all times, to this very day, from the time he died to this very day, my friend, there are over 12 to 1300 years have passed. And in spite of the fact there were many scholars in his time and after his time, and there were many schools of thought, the founders of which were great muhaddithin and great fuqaha, this is the school of thought that Allah chose a cut above the rest. And this is the one that Allah elevated, and this is the one that Allah gave the acceptance.